And we are rolling back in, everybody. Unfortunately, we did have some issues going on with the stream, but finally we have managed to pick it back up, and we are going to come back to see a nice little pick against Galaxy Bear and a massive dive as well. Looking at the bot lane, meaning Jamesy on that misfortune is going to be slain, but getting a trade on B Syrup on Junjiao as well. Now, we are 9 minutes into the game as well, with 6 to 6 kills, which has been a massive turn of events. Again, unfortunately, to the way our production has been processing, we have been forced to jump past some champ select due to some communication errors. But we have finally, hey, look, here we are. So we might as well enjoy it. So the kills is now 6 to 6. We're looking at 3 kills on the Shyvana sitting on the SNU side, which is going to be blue. And on the red side, we're looking at Weekend Warriors Alpha. And it looks like we have another pick off here looking on the Ornn. They're going to try and get some pressure on. That's, and a nice little W is still going to result in a root as well on the Ornn. He does not manage to get his charge off. Looking for a nice little trade. And he does get taken down once again for a 4th kill in the pocket for this Shyvana. But it looks like Xin Zhao may be going for a double kill as well. Shyvana trying to defend her fellow Scion. And here we have Galaxy Bear coming up from the middle. Ooh, sniping a zillion ways to die right out of the combat. And that is 2 kills gone top lane for the price of 1. We have walked right back into a devastating Fiesta, and this Shyvana may not make it out alive either, forcing the flash out from a 4-0 Shyvana. Run to the turret. And Vex smashing right on with the ultimate, taking down a wonderful little shutdown on the Shyvana, who has been so prominent this early in the game, and showing that not only do they have a Vex who is now 3-1, but also off screen, which we haven't been able to witness, a Jinx 3-1.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've come back to a lot of action, but that's not to say that there wasn't action prior to us, reviving ourselves and coming back online quick. Like, clearly we came back to a 6-6 KDA for both teams. That's 12 kills that had already happened in below 12 minutes, but straight back into plenty of action and just a lot of kills on the exact right members for Alpha. That's pretty much picture perfect for them, is a fed Vex and a fed Jinx with this sort of comp. They've got plenty of peel for both of those immobile carries and so much damage output if they're able to get accelerated. And G-Bear and Gaydads have done a fantastic job of accelerating themselves. So we'll have to see. I definitely favor Alpha's comp more than anything. I think it's not really like a season gap, but there's very much the angle of just there's more synergy between a lot of, not so much the players, but as far as the champs, like I'm looking at a lot of really strong team fighting ultimates. But hold on, bit of a big
And in the
trade
mid lane
in the
as
mid lane.
well. A nice little juke coming in from LeBlanc here, managing to dodge a nice little skill shot, not once, but twice as well with a clone. But unfortunately, that does lead to Kun getting taken down in the end. And we are also going to see Shyvana here sitting top lane, trying to make use of her large amount of kills. But Galaxy Bear as well. Once again, when you're watching a LeBlanc run around like that, you don't know what's going to get hit or what's going to move. And it looks like Galaxy Bear did have a good grasp on the situation and who was moving where, meaning that more and more turret damage is going down in the mid lane, as well as a Rift Herald charging top lane, getting instantly taken down by Penguin, sitting up in this Scion. And sorry, not the Scion, this Ornn. He does manage to successfully ward everybody off his top turret, and we have the second dragon being slain, going towards the that was the Infernal Dragon, correct? If we're sitting
Yes,
a bit behind, yep.
It indeed was. So both of the first and second dragons have been taken, and that means we're going to be looking towards the Air Soul quick, which is not super interesting. It's not the most exciting soul. It's definitely not the strongest soul, but something that both teams will look to.
Penguin calling his ultimate as well on a zillion ways to die, but actually uses
cancel.
his charge just a minute too early, taking some tower shots as well. Definitely not favorable, but he does not need his ultimate on his side. We may see a Scion revive here going for the trade in the top lane, despite the camera not facing it. And it looks like their trade is purely going to go to Penguin, meaning that he can walk away with a nice little kill under his belt once again, showing that he has dominance over a zillion ways to die here in the top lane.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think Scion played that really well. Right up until the end, and it's that classic case quick where like you find the outplay on your opponent, but then you bite off more than you can chew because it just fills you with so much confidence. You go, oh, I'm the greatest player alive, I've got to keep going. And when he does that, he actually falls to Penguin just standing his ground and making sure that he knows he has enough damage and pulls it off. But I want to keep talking about this mid lane because you mentioned briefly that LeBlanc is usually. Oh, hold on. Speaking of
Oh,
mid
nice
lane,
little dive here coming from Ironclad, trying to get something on Galaxy Bear, but look at that tankiness coming from Vex. Just completely resists a nice little jump of the wall in Dragon form coming from a Shyvana, barely taking any damage. And honestly, it looks like Ironclad had taken more in the end. That is a painful gank to have to not only take, but a bit of a shot to your confidence as well.
well, it's so interesting because I was just about to talk about Galaxy Bear's composure. So his ability to stay really calm in these situations versus quite heavy aggression coming out from the blue side, and things like Shyvana and LeBlanc who just want to get in your face and deal a whole bunch of damage and really scare you and make you panic on your abilities. This guy has been cool, calm, and collected, and he's been paid dividends for it as well. 4-1, he's clearly the strongest member on his team right now in terms of gold and value. So this Vex is going to be just absolutely massive in the upcoming team fights, and not only because G-Bear's playing so well, but also just because of the other champs in his team comp as well that will just facilitate
And it
that
looks like
all
Frequent
engage.
is going to get immediately targeted, and that clone does not divert enough attention at the top as well, meaning that Syrup is going to be able to clean up and take a nice little kill under his belt as well. And it looks like Freege is just under a lot of pressure mid lane as well. 4 deaths and 0 kills is really a painful sight to have to see on your board, especially meaning that it goes to your mid laner as well. Especially with LeBlanc with that kind of mobility, it is very, very unfortunate that she is being targeted, but it is very much swinging in the favor of Galaxy Bear at this point.
Well, it proves that the blue side need to find kills. They need to find options elsewhere on the map. If mid lane's falling this further behind, you've got to find some sort of way to increase your availability, to actually be relevant in these team fights, even without a carry in the mid lane not being super strong right now. And it's all in terms of golden items. I mean, Vex has completed her mythic, and the Blanc hasn't completed hers. So you think of it in just those simple terms that the ability to output as much DPS as possible
Turret under
it's just not
attack.
there.
You have a
Although
charge from
LeBlanc is
On. He is going to be
available.
able to take the turret shots, but unfortunately that means he ends up leaving his teammate Syrup all alone. Does get rooted, but not taking tower shots, leaving Penguin all alone. He's going to fly straight into the face of danger, and he does get the trade on Zillion as well. A double kill on LeBlanc. Once again, it seems wherever LeBlanc walks, she is going to be a victim, and she has been taken out, meaning that it is a nice little double kill in the hands of Penguin, taking out both his opponents, though he does go down in the end as well. And we also have a nice little picker going down to the bot lane as well, with a little gank coming from Ironclad, meaning they can clean up both the members sitting down there, with a massive trade going over top and bot lane, meaning the Galaxy Bear was left to his own devices down in that mid lane, being able to take the turrets, being able to get the CS, being able to concrete his lead, and he has double the CS of his laner, which is a terrifying sight to see.
Well, that's what we were just talking. I was talking about that counterplay, the ability to go elsewhere on the map if one side of your map's falling really heavily and not doing so well, is to get an increase, get an advantage elsewhere, and that's what they managed to do with that bot lane play. So while Ornn finds the double kill, which is incredibly impressive given the situation where he was in, like diving between tier 1 and tier 2 as an Ornn in the early game, not exactly what you want to be doing, but he dealt with it and found a way to come out ahead. But it's not to say that SNU didn't find the ability to get some kills back, get the gold lead to swing, ever so closer to being even. Alpha are definitely in front and will remain in front for a big period of time of this game, I believe. But as we continue on, it just shows that SNU aren't afraid to keep fighting. Even if it means they may fall, they're still going to show up. They're not going to give up, and they're not going to give up objectives, especially as a Shyvana. You want to snag as many of these dragons as you can due to her passive, and so we'll see if they actually look for it, but there's just some serious domination going on in this top lane quick as Ornn is winning every single trade, and here comes the team fight.
And we have the fight breaking down in the bottom jungle as well. Ironclad is forced to leave at the fight early, wanting to maintain her health on that Shyvana to stay alive just a little bit longer, meaning that they don't have to give up that dragon for sure. But forcing a jungler at this early, especially in a fight for dragon, is not a good sight. And it looks like that stun does not go down, but the root is more than enough, meaning that despite Misfortune going down, so does Jinx. These ADCs have traded both sides, meaning that major attack damage is missing from both teams. This dragon is still under pressure, and this Scion is managing to hold Penguin without his teleport. That tower does go down, and it's going to force Zillion to use his ultimate to get away, meaning the Penguin does have teleport up now. He may be able to, if he must, he may be able to walk down. He can push pressure top, and it feels like SNU is going to be all over the place. They can't take this dragon. They can't block off any potential plays happening. And once again, as you mentioned, Shyvana's ultimate is going to be hindered once again, preventing her from grabbing that, meaning that another Cloud Drake goes to the hands of Alpha.
Yeah, it's hard, and we talk about stacking drakes, really important for any sort of comp quick, but especially important when you want to scale and you want to play for team fighting. That's your sole win, Connors. You don't want to fight at any other point. You just want to fight team fights. That's very much the win con for Alpha, and the more drakes you stack, the better you're going to look in those fights. So playing to their win con perfectly, there's a serious advantage popping up in the top lane for this Ornn. 61 CS lead, might even try and find lethal under the turret, and too tanky for Zillion of ways to die to try and even fight a trade back. So top lane's a really, really big area of concern for SNU right now, but then so's the mid lane. I mean, GB much more, capable of making plays than LeBlanc is at this stage. And LeBlanc's all about making plays, getting around the map, surprising the enemy AD carry, bursting them in a one-shot. But you need items, you need gold, you need to be strong. And right now, just gotten a bit unlucky in the early game means that that stage of the game for SNU is going to take a while for them to get there. But the issue, Quick, is that if it takes a while for them to get strong, they're going to be matched up against an Alpha that's scaled a bit too far for anyone else to really stop them at that point.
Yeah, exactly, casual. And it just shows let's take a look at the goal count as well. Because once again, with Shyvana, these dragons can be so essential. It's something that she wants to try and secure. And never mind, we have an engagement going here top lane as well. Leona does get the root and the hook onto him, but Galaxy Bear just incredible damage when she lands that skill, so she can jump straight onto anybody she wants. And she is basically, with the backup Jinx as well, is able to perfectly synergize the entire team. And that is the third ultimate we see dropping down from Galaxy Bear, being able to chain them all back to back to back to back. Meaning that though they may have lost their support Lulu, Jinx, Galaxy Bear on the Vex can stay alive again, and that is the fourth one we see in a row as well. Frege is going to go down as a nice little fourth little member on top of this Galaxy Bear metal chain that she is collecting. This is incredible. I mean, just back to back to back to back to back. It is so many abilities changed so many times. This shows how dangerous Vex is, especially at this point in the game.
Oh, it's the story of what happens if you get a substantial lead in the early game on a team fighting champ, is that these early skirmishes are always in the side of Alpha, and it's not to say that GB didn't play them well, because he played them incredibly well. Oh, hold on, in the top
flash
lane.
coming in from a zillion ways to die. He is going to go down, but he is definitely looking for this trade as well on Penguin. Penguin is going to dash away, despite having Zillion try to follow him up. Syrup trying to get a little trade here under the turret after that charge goes down. Leona has been slightly overextended, but luckily we also have a nice little engagement coming from LeBlanc, but once again, going down. LeBlanc just keeps trying to stand her ground. Frege is just trying to make a statement, even on these low health champions, is just not working. No matter how hard she roots her feet into the ground, it can't seem to make a statement. Once again, we have Zillion going down in the top lane, sacrificing many CS and many turrets. This is not a good situation for SNU right now.
No, not at all. And it just goes to show that it's so hard for SNU to find an angle in these team fights with these massive members being able to soak so much damage. And I want to point out, Quick, is that the beefiest member of Alpha in this Ornn hasn't even decided to start team fighting yet. All Ornn's done is be in the side lane, which is fair enough. He's gotten incredibly fed. But what's that mean for SNU when the 5v4 happens? When Sion's in the top lane trying to push with this Hull Breaker, and suddenly Ornn is in the front of all of their damage? How does Ironclad actually get onto the back line and soak up and actually find a way to get a pick? It's incredibly tough. It's incredibly hard. And so I really worry when Penguin actually wants to start, properly winning the game, decides to group with his Jinx. Where do they go from there? And Vex can pretty much just side lane all by herself now, 7-1. G-Bear is an incredibly scary individual this game. I don't know who they actually send to match him. As we can see, they're just posturing towards the Dragon Pit now and just setting up vision. You can just see how hard it is for SNU to walk in without fearing like they're about to be popped by a Vex ult or by an Ornn ulti. You can tell how scared they are to walk in, and who can blame them, because there are some seriously scary members on the side of Alpha at this point.
Yeah, I think that a zillion ways to die. Oh, and we have the engage going right here now already. They're trying to force people off the dragon before it even spawns. And it looks like Freege is going to be
TP.
picked off once again. And despite the clone being available, it is going to get wiped off right off the bat. Freege does manage to dash over the wall, keeping it alive. But then we have Jinx coming in with the ultimate super rocket of death coming in and cleaning up everybody. We have Ornn, who does have the teleport, comes in, but so does a zillion ways to die. He has been completely isolated in the battlefield away from his team, but it may have just set up a martyr, meaning the rest of his team could get away without dying. That dragon is up now, meaning that the rest of Weekend Warriors can just walk back, grab it without worry. They have managed to successfully eliminate 2 members of their opposing team, meaning that there shouldn't be too much pressure on this dragon at all. Honestly, SNU is having a hard time defending this tower alone, despite contesting. They won't be able to contest a dragon at all. A massive dive under the tower as well. Looking at super obnoxious. That first tower is going to go down, and they go for that second kill as well. And Ironclad, that inhibitor is now at risk. Freege has respawned. They are going to look for more, and it looks like Weekend Warriors Alpha is not going to stay away from a fight. They're going to stay here. They're going to look for more. They've managed to get the inhibitor, and now they're going for the next turret. They're looking for the next inhibitor, and the push just keeps on going. SNU just can't stand up to the face of adversary, of danger that they're facing here right now. That is half the health on that turret right now. And it seems like SNU just can't push these guys off. That is another inhibitor exposed. That is another death going to a zillion ways to die. His respawn comes up, and he just doesn't do enough damage to anybody to make an impact. His passive feels as though he is not even there. And here we have the Ornn ultimate as well. They're going to look for another big engage. There's a dive under the tower, a massive knockup coming from Ornn. They're going to look straight onto the Ironclad, who's the only person on the team who's able to do any major damage. And it looks like Leona is going to go down as well. Unfortunately, Obnoxious is going to face another death. And there is the ace coming as well from Vex, being able to finish the game off as Galaxy Bear with an incredible amount of kills, an incredible amount of assists, and an incredible amount of teamwork and contribution. What an amazing game coming from Weekend Warriors Alpha. I think this is exactly the teamwork they were looking for, exactly the snowballs they wanted, and they managed to control objectives exactly how they were looking to. SNU was shut out of the game despite making some fair plays, especially with Shyvana getting fed up, and we saw a lot of opportunities available. But it looks like Weekend Warriors Alpha really they found their step up, they found their opportunity, they found their ray of light, and they ran straight towards it, and eventually it led them to the victory screen.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting is we basically just witnessed a snowball. We saw a team that had a lead early, increase that lead more and more and more through individual skill level and just general pop-offs in Galaxy Bear and Penguin playing really well in the 1v1, but also just snowballing as far as team fights. And you could see that there was just not really much of an option for the side of SNU to come back into the game, find their abilities. I fixed my camera there. And as we jump into this next game, we'll be witnessing Alpha once more quick, and we'll be seeing them from the minute 1 this time, which will be really exciting. I'd like to see their early game and how did they actually fashion themselves that lead? How did they fashion themselves that position? I'll definitely be keeping my eyes on the mid lane because that was a seriously strong performance just in the 1v1, but also finding himself in 1v2s, making sure he can get his way out. Like, seriously impressive from Galaxy Bear. So can he keep that up? And can other members of Alpha as well look as strong as they were? People like Penguin, even Gay Dad's on this Jinx looking incredibly strong. And so we'll see how well Alpha look, but they're not the only team in this grand final, Quicksand. We've also got our first game of the night, actually, in Stompers, coming back for the return. Can they find the $50 of RP? We'll have to see. Until then, we're going to take a short intermission as we get ready to jump into Champ Select. We will see you guys there. And when we come back, it'll be our grand final quick, our final cast of the night. Alpha on the blue side versus Stompers on the red side. See you guys then. Enjoy a quick little break and we'll be back.
Yeah, see you guys in a bit.